Hi, this is Mr. Snyder with Truman Middle School, and today we're going to calculate simple interest. Before we can calculate simple interest, we need to know a little background, specifically some of the vocabulary involved, such as interest, simple interest, principal, and rate of interest, as well as a few other things that we will discuss as we go along. When you borrow money from a bank, you probably know that you have to pay interest to borrow or use the bank's money. And also, when you lend or deposit the bank money into a savings account, you are paid interest. So, simple interest is one type of fee that is paid for the use of money, whether you're the one using it or the bank is using yours. The formula involved with calculating simple interest is I equals P times R times T, with I being the simple interest, the amount that you are either paid or that you do pay to borrow the money, principal, which is the amount that you either borrow or invest, the rate of interest, which is the percent that you were either charged or earned, and it's always written as a percent, and then the time involved, the time that the money is borrowed or invested in years, usually. So let's take a look at our first problem. Our first problem involves Jessica buying a car. So the first thing that you really need to do is identify what you're given in order to find what you need. So the first thing that I usually do is I write down the formula and then I take a look at what was given to me and what I still need to find. So let's go ahead and write down the formula. The formula is interest equals principal times rate times the time borrowed. So let's see what we were given. In the original problem, it says Jessica borrowed $15,000. So the $15,000 would be the principal amount. So principal equals $15,000. The next piece of information we're given is the time. It says that Jessica borrowed the $15,000 for 3 years. So I'll go ahead and write the time as T equals 3 years. Add an annual simple interest rate of 9%. Since it's a percent sign and it says rate, that must be my R. So the rate equals 9%, which ultimately we're going to have to write as a decimal before multiplying with that number. So what are they asking? How much interest will she pay if she pays the entire loan off at the end of the third year? And also they're asking what is the total amount. So the things that we still need to find are the interest and then the total amount, which we'll discuss that formula in just a moment. So that's what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and plug in what we know into our formula. So interest we do not know, so we will just leave that as I. Principal we do know to be $15,000 times the rate. The rate we know is going to be 0.09 or 0.09. And the time is 3 years, so we'll multiply by 3. And after plugging that into a calculator and multiplying it out, we'll find out that the interest is going to be $4,050. So we've answered the first part of the question, which is the rate. I'm sorry, which is the interest, and that was $4,050. So now we need to find the amount. And there is a separate formula to find the amount. So the total amount is going to equal our principal plus our interest. And we already know the interest now, and we also know the principal, so all we need to do is plug that into the formula. So A stands for total amount. Principal, if you recall, was $15,000. And now we know the interest to be $4,050. And adding those together, we now know that the total amount is going to be $19,050, which is the total amount that she will repay at the end of the 3 years. So let's try another problem. Nancy invested $6,000 in a bond at a yearly rate of 3%, and she earned $450 in interest. So, how long was the money invested? So, it sounds like we're asking a different question this time. It sounds like we were asking how long, which does mean we're probably going to find the amount of time. So let's write our formula down and again list what we're given and see what we need. So I equals P times R times T. And what we know is the principal, which is $6,000. We also have the rate, which is going to be 3%. And remember, you need to write that as a decimal, 0.03 or 0.03. And we know the interest in this case. We know that she got $450 in interest. And the question is how long? So that is our variable t, which we don't know. So that's what we need to find. Go ahead and try to solve this one by yourself and press pause on the video and come back in just a few moments and check and see if you've got it right. I've set up the formula for you and we've set up the elements that we have. So see if you can plug in what you know, solve for the variable t, and press play when you're ready to go. All right, let's see how you did. So plugging in what we know, we do know interest, which is $450. We know principal, which is $6,000. We know the rate, which is going to be 0.03 this time, and we are finding time. So multiplying 6,000 and 0.03, that would give me 180 times t, or 180t, and then on the left side we still have 450. Now we simply solve for the variable, so we divide by the number that is stuck to the variable, which is going to be 180, and divide the other side by 180, and we'll solve and find that t equals 2.5. And remember, since we are talking about time, the answer in this case is going to be 2.5 years. Then it's always a good idea to go back and ask yourself, does it make sense? Does my answer make sense for the question that I asked? And I think it does. So the next question, John's parents deposited $1,000 into a savings account as a college fund when he was born, much like probably some of your grandparents may have done for you. How much will John have in his account after 18 years at a yearly simple interest rate of 3.25%? So again, let's write down our formula. I equals P times R times T. So interest equals principal times rate times time. Now let's list what we have. The $1,000 represents the principal, since that's the amount that's being invested. The 18 years represents the time, the amount of time it will be invested. And the 3.25, since it's a percent, that's easily identified as a rate. So 3.25%, which we have to write as a decimal, 0.0325. And the only thing that we don't have in this case is interest. But be careful, since it asks how much will John have in his account after 18 years, am I really trying to find the interest or am I trying to find something else, like the total amount? So at this point, go ahead and press pause and see if you can use those two formulas we've learned to solve this problem. After you've done the problem and are ready to check it, go ahead and press play. Now that you've worked it, let's go ahead and see how you did. So plugging in what we know, we do know that we don't know the interest, so I'll write I. We do know the principal, which in this case is $1,000. We also know the rate, which in this case is going to be 0.0325, and then we also know the time, which is going to be 18 years. So multiplying 1,000 times 0.0325 times 18, we get an interest of $585. So the answer for the interest is $585. But was that the question? The question actually was asking how much would be in the account after 18 years. So we have to go one step further. And remember, total amount equals principal plus interest. And we know principal at this point, and we know interest, so we simply add those up. So total amount equals 1,000 plus $585, which is going to be $1,585. And that represents the total amount in his account after 18 years. So that would be the final answer. So that's it for now. Go ahead and practice more problems if you've been assigned them. Otherwise, good luck.